Let's go on to. Oh wait, what is that? What's the visual effects house called that you work for?
Oh, Nitrogen Studios.
Nitrogen
It's
Studios.
innovative.
Nice. You guys are
Yep.
fucking killing it. That's great. Okay, we're gonna go on our last topic, which is basically a revisit of politics. Now that everything is heating up, um, man. Okay, I guess I'm gonna preface this with I don't want to offend anybody. We probably don't know what we're talking about. We're going to give our best unbiased opinions, and we're
It's
going
the
to.
everything and nothing show. It
Yeah,
doesn't say the accurate facts show.
that's
Okay.
right. That's right. I think we want to talk about from our perspective of what we know. I understand that we're going to come off ignorant to some people. We might piss off some people, but bear with us. We're kind of just talking how we see things, and I'm open to every and all discussions and feedback about how you, if you're listening, if you disagree or agree, and how you want to piggyback on any of these thoughts. So, I really just want to pick your brains on the American politic situation where it is now. The last time we talked about this was well before like the primaries were just starting, maybe not even.
Barely. I don't even
Yeah.
think they were starting. Yeah.
And so we've since come now from every person under the sun in the Republican primary to about three people, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and I want to say John Cusack. That is not right. It's the governor of Ohio. Crap. It's not Q. It's
Rubio?
no. Rubio dropped out recently.
Oh, yeah. Ted Cruz.
It's Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and John Kasich. I want to say Cusack, but
Kasich?
John Cusack. Wow, I don't even know him.
John Kasich. He's actually
Is
getting
it
a lot of
Kasich
steam.
or Kasich?
It's Kasich. Kasich.
Yeah.
So
He is getting a lot of steam.
yeah. So and then on the other side, the Democratic side, we have Bernie Sanders and we have Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders currently is he's losing on a state count, but in a delegate count race, he's about 300 behind, which is significant in its own right, but certainly not mathematically like
Possible.
implausible for him to win
Yeah,
still.
exactly.
And a lot of people are like, he should just give up, blah, blah, blah. But like California, like there's like the whole western states, like Washington, for instance, where we're from, like has a very strong Bernie Sanders. So like they did the math. He has to basically get an average of 58% win in every state. So, if he wins big in Washington, like 67%, okay, the next one can go down to 42. He doesn't necessarily have to
Yep.
win. So he could potentially still win, and he doesn't necessarily have to like go crazy, but
So let's also talk
it's an
about
uphill
who's the
battle.
forerunner of the Republican Party, though.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So Donald Trump has been taking the lead in the Republican Party.
How is that possible? What the fuck are you guys doing down there?
Okay, so I don't know.
so people are pissed off, and it's really interesting. Our buddy, shout out to Sam Spratt. He doesn't even know this, but he's an amazing painter, illustrator, painter. He does it also digitally, so that's why I said illustrator. But he recently did a piece of Donald Trump on one side and Bernie Sanders on the other, and he did a lot of like investigation. And
Yeah.
what's interesting about that piece is that it's very two different sides of the spectrum. Both are serving the anti-government, pissed off and trustless like audience of the American people. Like they don't trust the government. They don't want a necessarily traditional government body taking presidency,
Right.
and they want to change the way our politics run because it's just felt like they've screwed us over. So on one side, in my opinion, you have Bernie Sanders supporters who, again, in my opinion, are rational, and they want to take this in more of a cerebral approach. And then on the other side, you have the Donald Trump supporters who are very much overlap with the belief that people don't fear Obama. Obama doesn't rule with a big enough fist or stick. He thinks that, like, people tend to think that America is weak. We're getting stomped over politically in the international scene, so they want someone who's got a big stick, a loud voice, and a voice that is not a politician. So, and what they perceive to be a honest voice, someone who tells it like it is, and it's not the political rhetoric.
Right.
But they're
Won't
also
be like jerked around by the government, basically.
yeah.
Okay, and here's why. What I read something about. Here's why there's so many individuals that are like wanting. Because so Trump didn't like just come out of nowhere. Trump came out. It's like Trump came because people were looking for a person like Trump. That's why. He's got so many voters and so many people that are making him the lead of that of the Republican Party right now too. He's getting voted that way because, and here's what my point is because so many people are living in fear right now. Like I like that Clay had brought up that they're like two sides of the spectrum, right? Like there's like fear and there's like anger all kind of tied to these people. I mean, everybody out there voting and like right now in the Trump side, what I'm seeing is that it's like people are afraid of like things changing dramatically too.
Well, I think that's what they want. They want somebody that's going to like shake things up.
No. They want somebody that's different in politics. I don't think that they like the way that I feel like the people that are voting right now for Trump that are supporters of Trump are also the same people that feel like the end of the world is here. You know what I mean? Or like that it's coming, right? Because of things like that we have allowed and became so progressive as a country.
Self-fulfilling prophecy by
so things like gay marriage, right? That's a huge thing. That's like a lot of individuals are super in fear of these things because they see it to be like.
But that's the Republican Party. Like that's a large part of the Republican Party. Maybe not the moderate side, but certainly the evangelicals. Every candidate outside of Trump, or Trump included, said that we're gonna do X, like my slogan, insert my slogan, because of things like gay marriage. Like I will bring us back to where we want, and that's just
or racism, for example, too, as well, right? Like so, he's playing into the fear of other individuals out there. There's a lot of people out there that like I know we've gotten far in this country, from slavery, but there's a lot of like perspectives that are around today that are still there's a lot of racism tied to it, and that he's playing into that too as well. It's that I don't know because I'm living here in the South and I'm surrounded by a lot of Trump supporters. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to see I'm just trying to see their side.
White or black or Mexican Trump supporters? White Trump supporters?
No. Well, it's okay. So black is like I'm not around too many black here in the area that I live in out in the country in Georgia. Although there is a lot of black in Georgia, I don't see the black that I see in Georgia. I don't see voting Trump, and I don't see a lot of Hispanic out here either that are voting for Trump. So the majority of the individuals I'm speaking to are older white individuals. So It's like
that's the type of people that Trump would count on getting votes from.
Right.
And like Roger said, they are pissed off, but I disagree. I think they do want to shake things up. I think they don't trust the government, and I think Trump is doing Trump is running on the fact that he's gonna repeal Obamacare because for whatever reason people hate it. Mainly probably because of the taxes and stuff. They don't think federal government should be that involved.
I think what you're paying for Obamacare and what you're getting is not like a good trade-off. So I agree about that. Like actually, yes, socialized medicine I think is a good idea, but it's like you should get something if you're going to be paying as much as you are for Obamacare, because like I've heard about how terrible the coverage is and everything like that. So totally. I think that's a fair point.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the other thing is immigration. Very big stance, especially off the back of the Syria issues and terrorists. He wants to build this fucking wall. And
is that real? Is that serious?
He's serious, and he's dead serious when he says Mexico will pay for it. And good luck, dude. I don't know how you're gonna do that. So those are the other two things. So Obamacare, and then I think like just making America great again. I think he promises that we're going to be rich, so the economy is going to change, and that he internationally he will not back down to anybody. And I think
he wants to be like a Vladimir Putin type.
Right. And I think
it seems like badass.
Yeah, and he does.
He's made some comments that I think just so I'm not a Trump supporter, obviously, guys, and anybody out there that's watching this who is a Trump supporter, you just got to be cautious and careful of certain things that are stated and said. So he said several things that are just kind of I could shoot somebody and kill somebody and still would get votes to be able to
I know, right?
become president, or and he says I'm going to go above and beyond the law, these things that when he says these kind of things, you got to be careful of this kind of stuff because that's very dangerous. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Does it remind you of somebody?
Yeah. It does,
and I don't like using that argument because I think it's used a ton to put on Democratic sides too. So whatever, neutralize that point. Let's not even There's so much other stuff too. I don't even need a Hitler comparison to be this guy's crazy.
Like that guy.
Yeah. He
One other thing too, though, is like he had said he was on an interview. He was talking about like airstrikes and stuff like this, and they were like talking about like terrorists and whatnot. And he's like, I'll tell you how you got to take care of terrorists. You got to kill their families. You got to kill their families. Now, there's a lot of individuals out there that are like they've got so much hate and so much anger. They're like, yeah, that's right. That's how you got to do it. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
But it's like what other individuals don't understand is that he just like verbally said pretty much like a war crime right there. Like what he was talking
like
about.
killing civilians, basically.
Yeah, killing civilians. You know what I mean? Like this is like you also have to like there's individuals out. This is the part that's scary for me. Like living here in America is that there's a lot of individuals out there that see that to be okay. To see that what his statement to say like go kill his family and to do that's an okay thing.
Right.
Like,
and the fact I think what maybe some people don't think about is that the fact that he says that about some country like thousands of miles away from here. What if he starts thinking like, oh, well, we have people in the U.S. that aren't agreeing with me all the time, like they're enemies of the state. Let's send some drones to their house and like kill them.
He said that. He said, "Get the Muslims out of America."
Not even the Muslims, but like anybody,
Yeah.
like just anybody, like everyday average citizen.
Yeah.
Look at what's been happening to protesters that go out to his rallies.
Like there's Muslim Americans, like they're still American. I don't understand. Like just because they're
I know.
Muslim doesn't change anything.
I know, but like, and then you have like the ignorance that is exuded from him, and the fear and like the anger and the hatred drumming. Like I can't like that, dude. It's like going to high school and thinking that the most popular kid who's the bully is the guy that you want to stay the most popular kid. Mm-hmm. And like what average student wants that? Like why would you want this?
The student that feels like that
they'll gain power by being with him.
Yeah, like they're gonna get some power somehow, so they feel threatened. Like it's like there's a bunch of there's a bunch of people out here that feel like this country is really weak. They feel like
it's
that
insane.
Somehow they feel though this is what they look at. They look at somebody like Trump and they look and they see that guy and they see these actions that he does and they see the hatred that he spews and they see the anger that he spews and they go, that's strong. And they say that's a leader. That's a strong leader person right there. That's somebody who I want to lead us. That person's gonna make America great again. That person right there is gonna say whatever's on his mind.
It's the anti-Obama. Because they feel like Obama's way too weak. He's soft-spoken. He doesn't get anything done. Like all of these trade deals and stuff like that have just been like us rolling over. Like,
right.
But
I don't know.
I don't think trying like the opposite, letting the pendulum swing that heavy, is the correct.
And a lot of say the same thing about like Bernie. They say he's just the opposite side of the spectrum. Like there's a lot of anger there. There's a lot of anger for the way that the society is being ran right now, the way that the government is, that he's just like his entire political platform's like is moving because of the anger.
Yeah, but it's anger that's focused and like it's not.
Trust me, I get it. I
get
it.
I mean? It's like let's
I'm just
take
saying
our
it's
anger,
still the
turn
opposite
it
side of
into
the
passion,
spectrum.
and
It's the opposite side of the spectrum. It's still like the same kind of emotion being directed in different ways. So like where the other ones are like the Sanders side is like let's use this anger because we're all frustrated and we're all upset with the way things are to make things better. What can we do to find a solution to make things better? Let's all get together to do it. Where the other side's just like it's anger in the sense of like you oppose anything that I think of as right now and I'm willing to like strike you. That should be okay.
Like the reason I have more trust in Sanders actually doing anything is because he's been in politics since he's been very young, whereas Trump has just been in business individual since he's been very young. He has no political affiliation until.
And that's another reason why.
I feel like. Well, sorry. Just real quick. I just want to say that's why I feel like either of these guys, like Obama was like very had like a great plan that he wanted to like achieve when he was in office. When he was campaigning, like he sounded like he was a person that was going to bring change. Like that was his big slogan, right? But I think what happened was the reality of politics like hit him in the face when he got elected and was like, oh, like I really want to change this one. Then it's like, okay, well then you got to get it approved by Congress. Now you got to get it approved by this person. Now you got to get it approved by this person. They can all like fire back at you and like make sure you can't achieve your dream. So I do worry that like even if Trump or Sanders, one of them, got elected, what they want to do will never make it, like their plan will never go through the entire way. Just what they are.
Here's the two different arguments on that. First off, I wanted to say that yes, with the Trump, anyways, the arguments. Trump supporters will say Trump, what he stated is, I'll go above the law. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go above the law kind of thing. Right?
But that's just talk, right?
Yeah, in the sense
Like
of
who
I feel like
who
that's
would
also
listen to
kind
him?
of in a sense that's kind of in a sense what Obama's tried to do with them saying like, okay, he's applied the most what do they call it when the president makes a decision,
Pardons?
martial law kind of deal, like
Oh,
martial law, not martial law, uh, I can't.
executive decisions?
Executive decision. Yeah, 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 that's what you had just said. Yeah. So like he's been making a lot of executive decisions because of the issues of like the Congress and all these other different things going around. We're still trying to be able to make a change. Like so, this is I guess the way that Donald Trump is supposing that he'll go around the law. Is trying to do executive decision making, where the other side of the story is that Bernie Sanders says, guys, I want this is the stuff that I want to have happen. But don't think that this is just going to happen like overnight. Expect
Right.
that if I was to be, elected as president, there's going to have to be some type of political revolution, and I'm going to be the one that hopefully help start that because we're going to need everybody to come together to be able to start that change. Not
Yeah.
expecting that his platform is just going to be accepted and taken off right from day one. He anticipates that it's actually going to be done through like a grassroots effort of us coming together to change the political system. And then that's really the only way that it can be achieved, not the Obama way, which is just the get elected, and then try to do it yourself as the president because obviously you're going to have all these different hurdles. Those hurdles are going to be less likely to come around or more likely to allow a decision to be made if the people are in the political revolution is going on at the same time, which is what Bernie says the way he's trying to approach changing America, where the other one's just like do it by force. I'm going to do it. If you say you're not going to, I'm going to change. Well, I'm going to go above and above. I'm going to go above the law, and beyond the law. And it's like that's just scary, though. Like
Yeah, it
one's
is.
saying let's do it with the people and have the people involved, and the other one's like screw that. I'm just going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, what if we don't like what you're doing, guys?
No, I was just like thinking about if
So
he
it's
was
I don't know. So for
president.
me, it's like it's scary because he's got a lot of support.
Yeah.
And
There's
then
a lot
what do you guys think about Hillary?
Actually, I don't
Because
mind
she's
it.
actually a front runner for Democratic Party.
I
so
actually like some of her. I was telling this to Rocco earlier. I actually think I like some of her stance on issues over Bernie's in some cases, like gun control. She's much harder on gun control than Bernie is, and I actually appreciate that, and that's something I like.
Oh, really?
Of her.
She's harder than Bernie on gun
Yeah,
control? Oh, interesting.
she'll like if it without disrupting the Constitution or going against the Constitution, she wants to do everything in her power to make owning guns as difficult as owning a car. And whereas Bernie's like, well, that's not realistic. You have to work with people, blah, blah, blah. He's a little bit like less, he's more wishy-washy, but he's much more passionate on something like education and the political system, which I also value strongly. So where Hillary doesn't necessarily have a strong passion with. I don't
Yeah,
know.
she seems like more like a liar also though. Like
yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say
that's like
here.
the
So
biggest problem is like she might be making a lot of promises that she has no intention of
one
keeping.
Sure.
one of the biggest things for me when I'm looking at everybody that's out here running right now is it's like the reason why I haven't ran before. I mean, I haven't ran before. I haven't like voted before is because everybody that was like I was capable of voting for, I felt like was wishy washy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just like it was a political game. It was like okay, in 1998, I can say that I'm completely against gays, but now I'm running for president here in 2016, and I know that I need that vote, those extra votes. So I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm pro-gay. And
Yeah.
it's like and I feel like out of all the other out of most of like the Hillary Clinton, let's just say, and the Donald Trump, the kind of the forerunners right now in the parties. I feel like both of those guys have been so super wishy-washy. There's too many like credible evidence, like interviews to
Yeah.
to like anything that's gone on where it's like I've heard opposing sides, different art. I mean, I've heard them say whatever the hell it is that they felt like they needed to say at that moment, not what they truly believed in. Where the
Yeah.
only person I feel like has stood on his platform for their entire lives has been Bernie Sanders from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
He said the same exact damn thing to today in 2016. It's
Yeah.
like, well, he's not one that's changing his mind as the time goes on just because
Yeah.
of who's going to give him the votes. And that to me shows character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that shows me like, okay, that guy means that if he says that, that's probably what he's really going to be doing.
Exactly.
What he's saying for his entire life, not just like we were saying gun control today, but 10 years ago was like anti any gun control. Which stand is she really going to take whenever she gets elected?
And yeah, and Hillary is they've like I've seen the compilation videos of her changing her stance of something she said
Yep.
like 10 years ago or whatever.
Yep.
But like Trump alone has like changed his stance within like 6 months. Like
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
insane. It's like he has like a split personality. It's so crazy. Like he can say one thing and then totally change what he said, like the opposite of it
Yeah.
in like 3 months
Yeah.
in front of like a different audience. I'm just like,
And not bat an eyelash.
yeah, and just doesn't
That's
care.
a big
You know,
deal.
like how can you get that guy to be giving you like a presidential address and like trust anything he says? Like how is
Yeah.
that going to make you trust the government
What's
anymore?
really funny is we know some people who's worked for him and are like, he's lying through his teeth. Like, I don't trust that guy. Like, so people who have worked for him, who have bought into his systems, have come back and like Trump University and all this other stuff. They've been like, dude, no, it doesn't work. So like he's so good at selling. That's why he is who he is. He's so good at selling this facade. You buy into it, and then the next morning you wake up and your money's gone. And you're
Yeah,
like,
everyone's going to be like, oh, I'm going to be the next Donald Trump because he's going to be president. I'm going to be like super rich because of my business. Like, no, dude, like,
It
no.
works like that.
It's honestly though, it's I don't know.
They're like, oh, everybody will be millionaires because he's going to turn the economy around like so well, and like Bernie's going to bankrupt us all because he's making us pay so much for taxes.
Dude, the socialism argument is a whole other argument. Like, we can go into that too. I want to say really quick, Alan, you're not the only person who thinks that. I think a large majority of people realize that Hillary has a more pragmatic approach, and she is probably more, you would think, able to get things done because she's not trying to aim for the moon, whereas Bernie Sanders has, been consistent in his thoughts, but realistically probably has a lot more friction in front of him to get the things that he wants to get done, like Obama did.
He's not afraid to like rub people the wrong way if he needs to and stuff.
But I'm okay with that when it comes down to it. Like, I want someone to be passionate and just try to move the needle forward.
Yeah, how is that not the same as like people wanting like a strong, like badass guy in Donald Trump? How is that not the same with Bernie Sanders? Like he does that kind of stuff. He's been doing that stuff for like decades, like in Congress, wherever. He's just like calling people out on their bullshit all the time. Like, how is that not as badass as like Donald Trump doing it?
And while Obamacare might not be a perfect solution, where I think a lot of people get caught up and is like, well, is it going to be perfect the first time? It's like, of course not. Obama had so much friction, but he's the one president that actually got healthcare reform when so many presidents before him have failed. Yeah. So for him to just even get Obamacare started so that future presidents and elects can like build off of it is just ginormous, man. That's so big. That's such a huge step. It's a small step, but it's a necessary step that someone without passion who's caught up in the politics of making somebody happy and favors might not even get to that point. And so while Sanders looks like he might not be able to achieve everything, at least we have his ideal goal. And if you shoot, like, I love this quote from Kanye. People are going to hate me already. But he says in his song, reach for the moon, so if you fall on a cloud. I'd rather reach for the moon and then fall where I may, as opposed to being like, well, that's unrealistic. Shoot for the clouds and maybe not even get to the clouds, right? Like, fucking try your best, man. Try your best for the ideals, and where you fall is the best.
But then that goes into another like category in itself. Like, is that there's like two different kind of people out here in the world. There's the ones that are all about themselves individually, and then there's ones that are about the community as a whole. Yeah. And there's ones that are like, I don't want to try to go to the moon because his try to go to the moon means we as a whole.
Like, I got shit to do down here on Earth.
I got to think about my neighbors. I got to care about my neighbors. I got to split up all this different shit. I got to give all this and that. And where the others are out there and they exist, and they're the ones voting for the Trumps that are like, I don't want to have to share. I don't want to have to do that. If we're going to shoot for the moon, we're going to do it solo. I'm going to the moon. We're not all going to the moon. You know what I mean? That's the issue. That's a big issue because then that plays in that socialism side that you were gonna talk a little bit about. But it's like, why wouldn't we want to better our, like, when do we lose that community feel, that mentality?
Those people that you are interacting with, Rocco, I'm hard pressed to believe that they are making over $500,000 a year. And
some of them, I mean, honestly, some of them are, and they're like really pissed off about the taxes that they're.
And that's the socialism part about Bernie Sanders of like, this is how we're going to pay for these things he wants to do. It's like, oh, socialism, blah, blah, you're going to take my money from me? It's like, well, hold on. Most middle classes will either stay the same in the tax bracket or actually go down. It's only the people who are making like $1 million more
it's
a year.
It's $450,000 plus.
Right. Yeah. Like, and so... And like a lot of these people I'm hearing, like,
and on top of that,
do you really make that much money?
Like, if we ever look back at our American history, we'll find out that this tax bracket is not even the most extreme that we've seen in our like 100-year history by any means.
Now that opens
there was
up
a tax bracket that was 90% at some points.
Right. I know.
So it's like this is not the most extreme tax bracket we've ever came into, and if it's going to be going into those places like we were talking about, the ones that at least Bernie Sanders is saying that he wants to fund, like the education, or like, or like our veterans, like helping out veterans, their homeless issues that are going on. It's like I think that should be an okay, but that's coming from a perspective that says that I look at like humanity as a community. Like, how do I help all of us kind of raise up as a whole? Because if we raise up all as a whole together, that whole as itself raises up too.
Totally agree.
And it's like there's just too many other individuals out there that are like,
selfish.
Bro, you're not going to take my shit. You're not going to take mine, and I'm not going to go, fuck you, I don't want to help you. I want you to help me. And it's like that mentality, though, is that opposing mentality in the world that is voting for the Trump. You know?
So the best anti-socialism thing, like analogy I've seen, is that you see those things on Facebook where it's like, you're like, here's what socialism is, like, oh, you have a sign, let me take half that sign from you, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody actually was like, look, actually that's not what socialism is in this day and age that we're talking about for the American people that Sanders is providing, like, or advocating for. Socialism is, hey, I have 15 signs and I only need 5. So here, why don't you take some because you need some? Like, that's what he's advocating for. We're not saying, like, people freak out. They're like, what? You're going to come in and take my refrigerator and I need that? Like, no, dude, no one's going to come and take your shit. No one's going to, like, take a giant paycheck. Like, it's not going to give to, like, the druggie down the street. Like, what we're advocating for is the people who have way more than they need are going to start giving to those that are struggling, like the middle class, the lower middle class, like the single moms who have like kids or whatever. Like, help them out, because those guys are going to be able to like give back to the community a lot more than someone who's sitting on a pile of cash who's not spending, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff involved.
That's a lot of people don't understand that part about how that affects the society.
A lot of people don't understand investments for the future. They spend their money immediately when they get it, as opposed to like getting out of the rat. So like, there's so much economic like education involved with a lot of this stuff. That I'm not
when you're
surprised.
even talking about like a bunch of different people sitting on a ton of money, like that's a big issue. That's one of the issues that Bernie's talking about. Like the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Like this argument, people don't understand what that really means. What that means is that there's a small amount of people, very small amount of people that own a lot of the money. When the money doesn't move in the system, the economy falls. So it's like now you're putting all the money into one person's pocket, but that person doesn't really want to go out and go buy shit.
It's not even in America. It's being
thrown
overseas and, and to get out of tax. Like, it's insane how loopholes
that happens. You get money stop flowing. You get economy that drops. You get everybody that fails now. Not just like now everybody fails. Yeah. It's like you got to look at that, like you were saying, the foresight of the future. You have to be looking about like what's going to possibly become, not just about what's right here, right now.
Most people can't do that though. They're worried about what the problems are afflicting them now. They don't care about generations, two generations ahead of time. You know,
it's like the argument for global warming, right? It's like I don't want to think about any of that shit, any possibility of anything like that at all right now, because today I don't feel like I have to worry about that. It's like it's nice outside, it's good. I've got to go make my money. I'm just going to go do my thing. That's it. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh gosh.
Well, look, we gotta wrap this up, and I think there's a lot more meat on this thing that I think we could probably bring into next week's episode, so we might be able to continue this. But that is another episode of the Everything and Nothing Show. I hope you enjoyed us talking about VR, talking about some grapefruit reaction.
Yeah, grapefruit.
Video games, movie talk, Sausage Party coming out August 11th. Check it out. We're super excited to continue this stuff and to gain your support, whether it be paid via patreon.com or YouTube, or free via commenting, liking, subscribing, and even watching us stream League of Legends play. All of that is super helpful, and we're excited to hear what you guys think.
If you guys get us to 750, we will be taking the grapefruit challenge.
Yeah, that would be great. We'll film that, and we'll put that on there. Until next time, guys, it's been an honor to entertain you. Peace. Take care.
Adios, guys. Have a good one.
Want someone who's got a big stick, a loud voice, and a voice that is not a politician. So, and what they perceive to be a honest voice, someone who tells it like it is, and it's not the political rhetoric.
Right.
But they're
won't
also
be like jerked around by the government, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's why. What I read something about. Here's why there's so many individuals that are like wanting, because so Trump didn't like just come out of nowhere. Trump came out. It's like Trump came because people were looking for a person like Trump. That's why. That's why he's got so many voters and so many people that are making him the lead of the Republican Party right now too. He's getting voted that way because, and here's what my point is because so many people are living in fear right now. Like I like that Clay had brought up that they're like two sides of the spectrum, right? Like there's like fear and there's like anger all kind of tied to these people. I mean, everybody out there voting, and like right now in the Trump side, what I'm seeing is that it's like
on any of these thoughts. So I really just want to pick your brains on the American politics situation where it is now. The last time we talked about this was well before like the primaries were just starting, maybe not even
barely. I don't even think they were starting. Yeah.
And so we've since come now from every person under the sun in the Republican primary to about three people: Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and I want to say John Cusack. That is not right. It's the governor of Ohio. Crap. It's not cute. It's
Rubio?
No, Rubio dropped out recently.
Oh yeah. Ted Cruz.
It's Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and John Kasich. I want to say Cusack, but
John Cusack. Wow, I don't even know him.
John Kasich. He's actually getting a lot of steam.
Or Kasich.
It's Kasich. Kasich.
Yeah.
So
he is getting a lot of steam.
Yeah. So and then on the other side, the Democratic side, we have Bernie Sanders and we have Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders currently is. Let's go on to. Oh wait, what is that? What's the visual effects house called that you work for?
Oh, Nitrogen Studios.
Nitrogen Studios.
Canada.
Nice. You guys are fucking killing it. That's great. Okay, we're gonna go on our last topic, which is basically a revisit of politics. Now that everything is heating up, man. Okay, I guess I'm gonna preface this with. I don't want to offend anybody. We probably don't know what we're talking about. We're going to give our best unbiased opinions, and we're going to
everything and nothing show. It doesn't say the accurate facts show.
That's
okay?
right. That's right. I think we want to talk about from our perspective of what we know. I understand that we're going to come off ignorant to some people. We might piss off some people, but bear with us. We're kind of just talking how we see things, and I'm open to every and all discussions and feedback about how you, if you're listening, if you disagree or agree, and how you want to piggyback. Painter, he does it also digitally, so that's why I said illustrator. But he recently did a piece of Donald Trump on one side and Bernie Sanders on the other, and he did a lot of it, like investigation. And what's interesting about that piece is that it's very two different sides of the spectrum. Both are serving the anti-government, pissed off and trustless like audience of the American people. Like they don't trust the government. They don't want a necessarily like traditional government body taking presidency, and they want to change the way our politics run because it's just felt like they've screwed us over. So on one side, in my opinion, you have Bernie Sanders supporters who, again, in my opinion, are rational and they want to take this in more of a cerebral approach. And then on the other side, you have the Donald Trump supporters who are very much overlap with the belief that people don't fear Obama. Obama doesn't rule with a big enough fist or stick. He thinks that, people tend to think that America is weak. We're getting stomped over politically in the international scene. So they want he's losing on a state count, but in a delegate count race, he's about 300 behind, which is significant in its own right, but certainly not mathematically implausible for him to win still. Exactly. A lot of people are like, he should just give up, blah, blah, blah. But like California, there's the whole western states, like Washington, for instance, where we're from, has a very strong Bernie Sanders. So they did the math. He has to basically get an average of 58% win in every state. So, if he wins big in Washington, 67%, okay, the next one can go down to 42. He doesn't necessarily have to win. So he could potentially still win, and he doesn't necessarily have to go crazy, but
so let's also talk about who's the forerunner of the Republican Party, though.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Donald Trump has been taking the lead in the Republican Party.
How is that possible? What the fuck are you guys doing down there?
Okay, so I don't know.
So people are pissed off, and it's really interesting. Our buddy, shout out to Sam Spratt. He doesn't even know this, but he's an amazing